Hello, good morning. Well, it's morning here. It might not be morning where you are right now. We are doing our third powerful pregnancy class, and I'm with Jana here today. So Jana's going to get a bit of a PT session, aren't you? So it's going to be all about you, but obviously it's all about you at home as well. So don't forget, you need to get on that community board and send in your comments. Let us know, because we will be developing this as we go along. We can film extra little masterclasses for you, and don't forget to look at the masterclasses as well, because that will give you more information. So we are going to get going, and we're going to start, Jana, with our rocking the baby. So you join us as well with rocking the baby, and whilst we're doing this, I know that you can see us through the mirror, and I think it's really important to point out that when you're doing this, you can also see my upper body here, you can see my hands, and that is actually seeing me through the lens directly when you see my hands like this. So it's like you're in the class, you're behind me. So when I lift up my right hand, you lift up your right hand. When I'm using my right leg, you're using your right leg as well. So I hope that kind of makes sense and makes it easier to follow. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand with our feet hip distance apart. Now, in the last two classes, we went through quite a lot of detail, drawing up through the core muscles into the pelvis. Let's start with the feet and really think about the core of the foot. Now, this is something that we've started to talk about, but it's so important. The reason it is so important is because your feet will be affected by the hormones. Now, they won't be as affected now as they will be later on, but they still will be. You have more joints in your feet than in any other small area of your body. So when the relaxing kicks in at about 20, 21 weeks, maybe 22, maybe 23, your feet will become a lot less stable. So if we work on the strength now, then it's going to be much better for you later on. So I want you to think of 3 points on the base of your foot, one in line with your big toe, one in line with your little toe, and one in line with the heel. So it's like a reverse triangle. And I want you to press through those 3 points. So imagine there's like suckers on the bottom of your feet. Yeah, and those suckers are kind of stuck to the floor, and then you're going to draw up through those suckers as if you were pulling them in towards each other. But here's the thing, the inside the ball of your foot mustn't lift off the floor, and you don't want to completely screw your feet up. So you're trying to keep the toes on the floor as well. Now they will come in a little bit, but you're just trying to press through the inside the ball of the foot and draw up through and create more of an arch in your foot. I don't know if you can feel that. Yeah. So just relax your feet, just kind of wiggle your toes and release them. And then try that for me again. So press through the inside the balls of the feet, draw the feet in, creating that arch in the foot, pressing through the inside the ball of the foot. It's a bit like you're gathering your mat up underneath your feet. Now relax the feet, and we're going to connect that to the rest of our core. Now, often when you're taught to correct your posture, you're told to kind of move parts of your body. Rather than moving parts of your body, I want you to feel what you're doing, and that's really important. And we're going to work through the body from the feet up to the pelvis, up to the diaphragm, and through into the head. So drawn up through the feet. Now, often we're told to kind of tilt our pelvis either one way or another to correct our pelvic positioning. Rather than doing that, I want you to feel your pelvic floor, because your pelvic floor attaches to your tailbone and to your pubic bone at the front. And if we can have a side view on this, I'm going to actually, Jana, you don't need to do this, but I'm going to actually purposely allow my back to overarch. So I'm really kind of arching my back. Now this is really typical in pregnancy. This is a thing that as we get more and more pregnant, this happens. Now what your pelvic floor does for you is actually just strengthen and pull your tailbone in. And often we kind of compensate when we try to purposely tilt the pelvis. But actually all you need to do is connect to that pelvic floor, because that pelvic floor attaches to your coccyx, and by pulling up through your pelvic floor, you're just dropping that tailbone down. And I don't know if that makes sense, but again, if we can have a side view, and if Jana and I now connect to our pelvic floor, so we've done this before, and we also now have a masterclass all on the pelvic floor. It's actually nearly 20 minutes. I really went into detail with that one, so make sure you follow that, because it will give you lots of detail about the pelvic floor. But for now, all we're going to do is we're going to take a big deep breath, inhale, exhale, relax. And then connect your pelvic floor by stopping a fart from the back, stopping a wee from the front, and thinking of scooping up and into your belly. And do you feel how that makes you drop your tailbone ever so slightly? But rather than you purposely pushing your tailbone down, it's an internal feeling. So let's try that again. Take a nice big deep breath. Inhale, exhale, relax. And then stop a fart from the back and draw up from the back of the pelvic floor into the front, stop a wee from the front and come into your belly. And one of the ways I like to describe this, if you imagine a little skier on the inside of your tailbone, and it's like they're skiing off the end of your tailbone, coming up and into your tummy. So it's like a scooping up. Now, if we connect that to drawing up through the core of the feet, it's going to make you feel really strong. So let's just relax the feet, wiggle the toes a little bit, make sure your feet are around hip distance apart. And then you're going to take a big deep breath, inhale. Exhale, relax. Draw up through the core of the feet. Now, scoop up from the back of the pelvic floor and into the front. So stop a fart, stop a wee, into your belly, feel your belly coming in. And then relax the feet, relax the pelvic floor. And this time I want you to put your hands underneath your bump or just at the bottom of your belly here, so at the lower part of your abdomen. Take another big deep breath, inhale. Exhale, relax. Draw up through the arches of the feet, scoop up from the back of the pelvic floor and into the front. And do you feel your belly coming in? Yeah, so there's that deep core connection. And it definitely makes a difference when you use the feet as well, because there is a connection all the way going through. We have what we call fascial lines that work all the way from the feet all the way up to the pelvis. So they're connected. Yep, so they work together. We've already been breathing, and we're going to just focus on a breath now. So let's do this again, but let's put the hands onto the rib cage. As you do that, just try to draw your shoulder blades down. So take a nice big deep breath for me. Inhale. Exhale. And feel the rib cage come down and in and down as you exhale. Now, as you exhale, the rib cage comes in. What happens is the diaphragm comes up on the inside. So when you inhale, the diaphragm is flat and out. And then when you exhale, the diaphragm comes in. And that's the point at which your pelvic floor should come up and in as well, as does the arches of the feet. So we're going to do that again, focusing all the way up to the diaphragm. So take another breath. Inhale. Exhale. Relax. Draw up through the arches of the feet, scoop up from the back of the pelvic floor, feel the rib cage come down. And as you feel the rib cage come down, the diaphragm comes up, the shoulder blades come down. Now we're going to go to the last connection, which is the head. And I'd like you now to put your hand into the back of your neck and just feel that point right at the bottom of the skull. And what you should feel, there's a dip right in the center, there's a dip literally where your spine is. And then either side of that, there's this kind of protruding bit, which is actually the trapezius muscle that inserts into the back of your head. And I don't know if you can feel that. And actually, if you press on it, it's a little bit tender. Yeah? And that's because we carry a lot of tension here. And it's often because we just extend the chin out just a little bit too much, which shortens right at the top of the head here. It shortens that muscle and shortens it and tenses it. But then we couple that with shoulders coming up. So this muscle is like a diamond shape on your back. So it starts here, right at the top of your head. It goes down to your shoulder blades and then goes all the way down to your back. So if I turn around, so it literally attaches into fascia down into your back here. So it starts from here down to the shoulders and then goes all the way down. So it's like this big kind of diamond shape around the back. So that is all connected as well. So what we've got to do is we've got to bring the shoulders down to work the muscle fibers that bring those shoulder blades down and lengthen you in the neck. And at the same time, bring your chin in to lengthen the fibers right here. So that corresponding chin in and shoulders down creates that length and gives you that perfect posture. So you don't have to purposely think about shoulders down and chin in. Just think of the feeling of that muscle lengthening at the back of the neck and then strengthening right at the base of your shoulder blades here. So you feel the shoulders slide down, you bring the chin in, and you feel the back of the neck lengthening. And go with that feeling. Try to feel it. So let's try that again. So you're focusing now on your upper body. Take a breath from me. Inhale. Exhale, relax. Feel the diaphragm come down and then slide your shoulder blades down the back of the rib cage. Try to feel strength underneath your shoulder blades and then just bring your chin in ever so subtly. Remember we said last week, it's like that egg in a spoon, just drawing your chin in and try to sense that length coming between your head, right at the base of your head, down to your shoulders. Can you feel that? Okay, now we have to put it all together. Gosh, it's really complex, isn't it? It is quite complex, but once you get used to it, it's like learning to drive a car. Once you get used to it, it does get a lot easier. So we're going to do that again, but we're going to work from the feet all the way up. Take a breath from me. Inhale. Exhale, relax. Draw up through the arches of the feet. Pull up through the pelvic floor. Stop a fart, stop a wee. Draw the shoulder blades down. Bring your chin in. Okay? and then relax it all. And when you get used to it, let's go back into our rocking the baby. So just do this movement for me. When you get used to it, you do start to connect it all together and do it all in one go, right? So if any one of those things is not making sense, or if none of it's making sense at the moment, do not panic, because the more we do it, and every week we'll come back to this, we'll do it every single week, the more you do it, the more it will start to make sense. And that's a wonderful thing, because it's not just going to help you through your pregnancy, but once you get into a habit of doing that, it's going to help you all the way for the rest of your life. So these are postural kind of cues to get muscles firing up, to strengthen you, so that even when you're not thinking about it, you are holding yourself really well and correctly. Okay, so we're doing our rocking the baby, which is a wonderful movement to just release and relax in. Whenever you find any of the movements we're doing getting too much, I want you to come back to this move. It's also a lovely move to use in labour. Yeah, it helps to release tension. It's a gentle rocking move. And I really believe in using rocking during labour and rocking just generally to release tension. So whenever you feel you've got tension in your body, think about how we relax and soothe babies by rocking. We can soothe and rock ourselves as well. There's no reason why we shouldn't do that. So come back to this move whenever you want to. So now we're going to bring our feet back into that hip distance apart position, and we're going to start to do what we call our foot pedals. So put your hands underneath your abdomen and just take your right heel off the floor. So you're taking your right heel off the floor. So remember, you're following me from behind, and then just alternate from right to left. And kind of imagine this like you're walking down the road. Yeah? So you're just kind of moving your feet. So what I want you to do now is to draw up through the pelvic floor. So you're going to scoop up from the back and into the front, and just start to lift up through, and just feel your abdomen coming in all the time. So your feet, you're not working the core of the feet at the moment, because we're just working the feet generally, but you are thinking about your pelvis coming in. So let's do that again, just very subtly. Don't worry about whether you're breathing specifically with it. Just I want you to just connect to your pelvic floor. So just as you're moving your feet, lift up through from the back to the front. So stop a fart from the back, lift in from the front, and feel your belly coming in. And this is an important thing to mention. You don't always have to breathe before connecting to your pelvic floor. You can just connect to it, because sometimes you need to do that. You just need to quickly connect. So I want you to do that now. So again, just stop a fart, stop a wee, and lift up and feel that connection. Yeah, you're just breathing naturally. Don't hold your breath. Just keep breathing. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to peel the right foot all the way off the floor. So peel your right foot off the floor. Now take a breath for me. Inhale. Exhale, engage the core of your left foot and peel your right foot off the floor and hold it in balance. Now turn your ankle around. Keep your ankles moving. You should keep your wrists moving as well. But because we've been kind of standing still a lot, I now know you need to move your feet. Yeah, keep them moving. Okay, just take them both ways. So take them in, take them out. Okay, now take your right foot back behind you, and you can let it go onto the floor and just kind of feel the floor behind you and extend your leg behind. And the temptation is to lean into your left side. So I want you to try and bring your body weight round and bring your right hip forward. Now connect your core, lift up through your center. Inhale. Exhale, draw up through the core of the left foot, lift up through the pelvic floor, draw the shoulder blades down, but bring your left arm up. Yeah, so keep sliding your shoulder blades down the back of your rib cage. Now really squeeze your right buttock as you do this. Again, take another breath. Inhale. Exhale. Lift up through your pelvic floor and into your belly. And this is really important, if we can have a side view on this, because when you are connecting to your core, you're helping to release that tension in your back here and making sure that your back doesn't overarch. So again, lift up. So do it for me one more time, Jana. Inhale, exhale, lift up through your pelvic floor and into your belly. So you're protecting your back as you're doing that. Okay, now change legs. So we're going to do a little foot pedal to change. So you're going to lift the left foot off the floor, peel the left foot off the floor, draw up through the arch of your right foot, and then just rotate the ankle around. Take a big deep breath whenever you want to. Inhale, exhale. Draw up through the core of the foot, lift in through your belly. Use that pelvic floor. Now take the leg back behind you. Extend the leg behind. Imagine your hips are like headlamps and they're shining forwards, yeah? Squeeze into your buttock on the left side, take the opposite arm up. So take your right arm up, and then again, connect to your core. Inhale, exhale. And it's really important that as you're doing this, you don't allow your back to go banana shape. So again, let's have a side view on this. I'm going to come forward a little bit. So I'm going to do it incorrectly for a moment. I'm going to let my back overarch, yeah? I'm really not using any core control at the moment through my pelvis. So now if I engage my core, so inhale, exhale, lift up through from the back of the pelvic floor and into my belly. You should see that soften. If you drive the shoulder blades down at the same time and think about your head position at the same time, just think about that egg and the spoon. It's going to really help with your postural line. Okay, now release. We're going to do it again. So peel the right foot off the floor. Now, Jana, I think we can try and see if we can work a little bit harder and try taking the foot off the floor this time. So you can try this at home. You don't have to. So you can take your foot back behind. You can keep it on the floor, but see if you can take it off the floor. Now, make sure you're bringing that right hip forward. The temptation is to lean into the left. So drive the right hip forward. Take the opposite arm up. Squeeze into your buttocks. Lift up from your pelvic floor and into your belly. Now, breathe. Lift in through those core muscles as you breathe. Slide the shoulders down. Think of that egg and the spoon with the head, okay? And then change sides. So peel the left foot off the floor again. Rotate your ankle around a couple of times each way. And then we're going to take the leg back behind. Squeeze into the buttocks. Lift up through the core. Take another breath. Inhale, exhale. Remember, you can put your foot down if you need to. Now squeeze into your bottom. Lift up through your pelvic floor and into your belly. We're going to change one more time, and then we're going to change the exercise. So peel your right foot off the floor. Rotate around, and this time we're going to go into that balanced position. So take the leg back behind, squeeze into your buttock, take the opposite hand up, work the shoulder blades down, lift up through from the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly. Breathe, and then we're going to put the foot down onto the floor. Now we're going to go into that calf stretch position. Now we've done this before, but we're going to lift and lower. And as we're doing this, we're going to check the line of our feet to make sure that our feet are fixed in tram lines. Okay, so it's great here because we've got the mirrors to look in. So remember, if you haven't got a mirror at home, remember you can use your phone. Just stick it so that you can actually film yourself doing this, or just have the camera on so you can see yourself, and check that your heel isn't turning in. Yeah, so you want to keep those heels nicely in line. Work the shoulders down, keep your chin in, and just keep working through that foot. How are your calves feeling today? Tight? Yeah? Okay, they might be tight at home. Can you feel that tension? You need to release them. We carry so much tension in our calves, so that's why we need to do this. But it's a good lesson in alignment as well, because we've got to work that heel out, because if we allow the heel to turn in, we're exacerbating tightness also in the hip. So by aligning it, you're helping to put your body into better movement patterns. And the more you do it, the more it will stay in those better movement patterns, and the more balanced your body will be, the more switched on your core will be. Okay, so now we're going to hold that heel down. I want you to squeeze your right buttock and engage your pelvic floor. Lift up from the back to the front of the pelvic floor. And I also want you to engage the core of your left foot. We're going to do a bow and arrow move. Work the shoulders down, bring the egg even under. So think of sliding the egg back in your spoon. I can't say my words properly right now. So you're sliding your head back, thinking of length in the back of the neck. So take another breath. Inhale, exhale. Sometimes I think I really do say too many words. And then inhale, exhale, and take it back the other way. So as you're doing this, breathe. And let's have a side view on this, please. So keep lifting up through your center. And then come back in, and then again, inhale, exhale, and draw the arm back. And let's do one more each side. So inhale, exhale. So as you exhale, you take the arm back. Inhale as the arm comes forward. And then exhale as you take the other arm back. Now, all the while you're doing this, you're trying to connect your core and release. Okay, so bring your feet in, and then you're going to peel your left foot off the floor this time. So peel the left foot off, and then just rotate your ankle around a couple of times each way. So lift in through, center yourself, and then take the leg back behind, and then into that standing position. Drop that hip forward, squeeze into your buttocks, lift up through your core, lift in through your belly, work the shoulders down and breathe. Inhale, exhale. Lift in through your center, and again, breathe. Scoop up from the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly. Now let's step that foot back behind, and again, we're going to release. Now, do you feel different on this side? Does it feel tighter? Does it feel looser? Looser. Okay, great. So we know often it's different. And the chances are the side that we feel tighter on is the side that we load on more. If you've already got babies, and you'll know about this, how we tend to carry on one side of the body more than the other. It might be that you just generally have a more tightness down one side of your body. It's really important to kind of tune into that and listen to it and think about how you can start to move away from that tightness. So Jana, one of the things you need to be doing now, if this feels looser on this side, I want you to be conscious of putting more weight through your left side right now. Does that make sense? Yeah? So probably what Jana does, because her right side is tighter, is that she's loading her right side a little bit more. So I want her to think about just putting that left heel right down and putting weight into it and trying to ground to that left side a little bit more. So hopefully your calf feels a bit more released on the left side. So now we're going to hold it down. Now engage your glutes. Really important to squeeze your bottom. Now, lift up from the back of the pelvic floor into the front. Engage the core of the feet. Work the shoulders down. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale. Let's slide the left arm back first this time. And then inhale, bring it back. And then exhale, slide the right arm back. And all the while you're doing this, you're trying to engage your core. Inhale, exhale, slide it back. That's it. And then the other side. Inhale, exhale, slide it back. And then we'll do one more to the left. Keep lifting through your center. And one more to the right. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to go to the bar at the back of the room now to do some stretches to support ourselves. So if you've got a chair at home or anything, we're going to start with a quad stretch. And again, we've got a masterclass on this and adaptions as well. So if you find this hard to do, one of the important things is that you bring your knees together when you take a hold of your foot. Yep. So what you don't want to do is bend your and exacerbate any kind of twisting or rotation in your hip. So you keep your knees together as you pick your foot up. Now, if you're struggling to do that, go and look at the masterclass because I show you how you can do it a lot more easily with a chair. Now, you might be behind your sofa now, holding onto your sofa as you do this stretch. But now, again, let's connect to the core. So we're going to lift up through from the back of the pelvic floor and into the belly and drive the knee towards the floor. And as you do that, you should feel a lengthening coming through the front of your thigh. So again, inhale, exhale. Breathe. As you exhale, you lift up through your center and into your belly. Drive that knee down. And what's really important is that you're trying to open through the front of your hip as you do this. So you're pushing your hip forward, pushing the kneecap down and lengthening through the front of your thigh. Okay? And then if you change legs and do that on the other side. So Jana, just stay where you are. Keep doing your stretches. I'm just going to come in so people can see me a little bit more easily. So push that kneecap away, lengthen through the front. And if we can have a side view on this now, please. I just want to show you the difference. So often what happens is the knee comes forward like this. And what you're trying to do is open the front of your pelvis and lengthen through. And again, use your core muscles, lift up through, and then drive your kneecap into the floor and feel that length coming into the front of your thigh. Okay, now the next stretch we're going to do, and again, Jana, you can just hold onto the bar, is to cross the right leg in front of the left, and then you're going to sit your weight back. That's it. And as you do that, bend your left knee. So if you've got the right leg crossed over, you stick your bottom back behind you, and you want to feel a stretch coming into your thigh. So you'll feel it a little bit in your inner thigh, but if you lift your tailbone up and then bend your supporting knee, you should feel a stretch going deeper into your hip. Now, this is a really important stretch. All of these stretches are important for the front thigh, for the hip and the calves we've already done, because you want to keep these areas free. They tend to get very tight because they're often affected a lot during pregnancy. Maybe not so much now, but as you get more pregnant, you'll feel it. So it's important to establish these stretches now. And then change and do the other side. So remember, you're crossing your foot, so it's your foot, not your ankle over your leg, so that your knee can go out to the side, and then you're going to bend the supporting knee, pushing that left knee out to the side, sticking your bottom out, and just feeling that stretch going into your hip, deep into your hip here. And you might feel it a little bit on your hamstrings and a little bit on your inner thigh as well. That's all good. But just try to lift your tailbone up, but then bend your supporting knee at the same time. And just think about your chin position, bring your chin in, and don't need to really worry about your core because you're actually giving your pelvic floor a bit of a stretch when you're doing this as well. But as long as you're holding on to something you're supported, you'll be absolutely fine. Okay? And then release and come back up. So we're going to start using our bands now. So we've got our bands attached around the bar. So you might want to find somewhere to attach your bands. If you haven't got bands, then you can do the exercises without. We've done these last week. We're going to start off with our rowing action. So we're going to use 2 of our bands. So you can just have one band and thread it around something. So you've got 2 handles into your right hand. If we can have a side view on this, please. So I'm going to go back, and then, Jonna, you can come back a little bit so your bands are taut. In fact, can you do me a favor and just shorten so you're forwards a little bit? That's it. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to step back with the right leg. Now, we've practiced lunges. lunges. And again, we have lunges in the master classes as well. So again, look at the lunges, how to lunge. Going to take a breath, inhale, exhale, step back with the right leg and come into the ball of the right foot. Now bring your body weight all the way back, come up nice and tall and squeeze into your buttocks. Make sure you're squeezing into your buttocks and you're nice and tall and your hips are facing forward. So if you know your right heel has a tendency to turn in, I want you to turn it back out. Keep it nice and straight. And then we're going to lower down and row, pulling the band back behind us, and then lifting back up and squeezing into the buttocks. Again, we've got a masterclass on how to do this movement. If you're not quite sure and you're struggling, please do go and have a look at that. And then lift back up, and then keep thinking about your posture, but thinking about your pelvic floor. So engage it and then pull. So let's slow ourselves down a little bit. Take a breath in, lift up through the pelvic floor, and then drive down. And then do that again. Lift up through, and then drive down. Now, as Jana's doing this, I can see, so I can have a view at the front, please, that's great. There's a little bit of instability going on, so she's wobbling just a little bit. But this is why this is so good, yeah? So you've got to really think about your core. And what I can also see is that her glutes aren't engaging quite as much as I'd like them to. So to get over that, I want her to come up taller, lift up taller. And I also want her to bring her knee out a little bit on this side. That's it. Can you feel that glute working more now? So sometimes when your knees are in the wrong position, so I'm going to do that. So keep going, Jenna. Do a couple more. If this happens with your knees, yeah, you're less stable. You've got to take the knees in line so they're not falling in. So check in your mirror, make sure that your knee doesn't fall in. And then you'll feel your glutes are actually more powerful. So just do one more for me. How are you doing? And then come back up and then relax and release. Okay, so shake your legs out. You okay? Did your heart rate go up? Yeah? So we know that these big movements are cardio as well. And as we go through the classes and we start moving a lot more, you'll feel that this class very much is cardio as well as strength. Okay, so now we're going to put the band into the other hand. So again, Jenna, if you're happy to just shorten your band a little bit. And then we can have a side view again. So we're going to step back with the left leg into our lunge position, come up nice and tall, and start with the buttock squeeze. And just check that your front knee isn't rolling in. So just push the knee out slightly and feel your right buttock engage. Come up tall, tall, tall. Lift up through the back of the pelvic floor and into the belly. And then breathe out as you lower down. And then lift back up. Squeeze back into the buttocks. Inhale, pull up to the pelvic floor, lower down. And then inhale. And lower down. And then inhale and lower down. Fab. And then inhale and lower down. Okay, so I'm seeing, keep going, Jana. Let's have a back view again. I'm seeing Jana rotate a little bit and I want her to be more straight on. So just pause a second, turn that way, okay? Now engage your core, engage your glutes, and go straight down and back up. Better. Still want to rotate. Now, I know why this is happening to Jana, and it's because this side is tight and it's pulling you that way. So you've got to work a little bit harder to keep your body in line. Again, lower down. That's it. And then lift back up. And one more. Actually, that's a lie. Do one more for me. I know this is hard. I hope you're following at home, and you can probably see, if we've got the front camera working, you can see how Jana's tendency is to pull to her right. So I'm trying to get her to pull a lot more to her left. And that's why these exercises are so good for us. They're what's called unilateral exercises. So you're working one side independently from the other. That means you can strengthen your weaker side more. You can rest now. Okay, well done. Brilliant. Let's put in a new move. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to take a hold of two bands. Now, if you've got one band, just looped around, that's fine. Again, you can do this movement without either. And actually what we're going to do, Jana, we're going to turn this way. So if we can have a side view, you can actually see the back of us, but that's fine because you can follow with us. So you're going to put one band into your left hand. If you've got two different strengths of bands, I want you to put your harder band in your left hand and your easier band in your right hand. If the band's the same resistance, it really doesn't matter. Because all we're going to do for the moment is just move the legs, and we're just going to move side to side. So if we can stay on that side view for the moment, please. We're just moving side to side. I know we've got our backs to you, but that means you can just follow with us in exactly the same way. So we're moving side to side. Now, as we do this, you should be able to feel that pull of the band. And Jana, make sure your bands are taut so you come a little bit further away from your support. And this is important, guys. You always want your bands to be taut as you're doing this because you want to feel that resistance. You want to feel that pull. Now, while we're doing this, if we can come back to a front view now. While we're doing this, keep going, Jana. You should feel a bit of a pull on the side that the bands are on. Yep, so you should be feeling that on your right side. And it's very much in your core. So whilst this is a leg movement and it's going to become an upper body movement, I want you to really think about using your core muscles. So lift up through into your belly. So even though your legs are wide, yeah, which makes it harder to use your pelvic floor, I want you to imagine stopping a fart, stopping a wee, yeah, and pulling up through your center. And I need to see your belly coming in as you do that. So pull your belly in. That's it. Pull your belly in. So keep going, Jana. I'm going to do it this way. Keep it going. That's it. It's good. Okay, now we're going to start to move the arms a bit. So just pull the arms, however you like. Try and keep your bands taut. So again, come this way just a little bit more, Jana. That's it. And just pull the bands. And it doesn't matter how you pull them, just pull them and start to move them. And what I want you to do, if we can stay on that side view, is have a natural movement pattern that feels right to you. So just keep moving. It's good. Keep it going. How's the cardio going? Yeah? Okay, so let's come back to front view. So you should feel your heart rate going up as you do this. Yeah, but it's quite good because you're connecting to your core, you're using your arms, you're using your legs, and you're lifting through your pelvic floor, lifting into your belly. Think about your posture all the while you're doing it. Do one more, and then rest it there, okay? So it's actually a very natural movement pattern to do, a lateral movement, but again, trying to get you to use your core as you're doing it. We're now going to do the move that we did last week. So we're just going to use one band, turn away from your fixed point, and now we're going to do our lunges but the other way around. So we're going to lower down and then lift back up, squeeze into the buttocks and then lower down and then lift back up, and then do that again, lower down and then lift back up. Now we're going to watch our knee positioning. So I'm going to do it wrong for a second. So I'm going to allow my knees to drop in. So you can see that you need to push that knee out, make sure that your hips stay in line. So lower down and lift back up. You're doing that perfectly. Well done. Lower down. Now engage your core, lift up through your center, lower down, keep your back up nice and tall, and then lift back up. Okay, go for one more. And then we're going to rest it there and try the other side. Okay, so going to the other side. So we're just going to move the band so it's in line with our left side this time. So you can do the same. So now take your left leg back behind you. Remember, you're following us exactly the same way. Lift up nice and tall, engage your glutes, squeeze, and then lower down, and then lift back up. Now it's really important that you do this vertical drop. So let's have a side view on this, please. So as you're doing it, you're keeping your body nice and upright. Squeeze your glutes, engage your core, and then lower down, and then lift back up. Just think about that egg in the spoon. Bring the chin in. Perfect, really nice. And do that for me a couple more times. And I can really hear Jana breathing, which is really important. It's good, she's breathing really nice and deeply. And then relax it there. Well done. So all we've got to do now is that side-to-side movement on the other side. So now we're going to face, so if we can have a side view again right now. So just swap the bands around. So if you have got one band that's stronger than the other, put the stronger band into your right hand and the lighter band into your left hand. And then you should be turned the opposite way around. And then we're just going to start moving. So sorry, if we start moving without the arms for the moment, just keep your arms still for the moment, Jana, that's my fault. And just move side to side and just start connecting to your core, lifting into your center. Be conscious of the pull of the band on your left side. Yeah, so as you pull the band across your torso a little bit, you feel it pulling on your left side. Do you feel that? Yeah? Okay, so now if we move the arms independently of each other, so you're pulling with your right arm and pushing with your left. Pulling with your right, pushing with your left. And then we start to work into a nice little rhythm. And then you're lifting up through your core as you're doing this. So we're really starting to go into some cardio exercise now with this class. How are you doing, Jana? Are you okay? Yeah? So we've stepped it up quite a bit from last week. Brilliant. Now, if you do find that it's getting all a bit too much for you, I'm going to let Jana keep going at her pace. I'm going to slow myself down. So do you know what? It doesn't matter what pace you go at. Yeah? It's about you finding what works for you. Just make sure you've also had a look at our intensity guidelines video, which will teach you a lot about what intensity you should be working at. Okay, and then rest it there. Well done. Okay, so I think we've done enough of those. Now, you might want to stretch your quads again, so we're going to do that now. Just bring your knees together, push open through the front of your pelvis, and do a little quad stretch. And you might want to do a hip stretch as well. So change legs. Make sure as you're doing this, you're bringing your knee in, lengthening through the front of your thigh, pushing your kneecap down, work the shoulders down, bring your chin as you're doing this, and just lengthening through. Now, while you and Jenna are doing your stretches, I'm going to talk to you about this ball that we've got in the room here. So you can do your hip stretch as well. So that one, yeah. So these are amazing things for when you're pregnant. And all we're going to do with it for the moment, you probably think, oh, it's a birthing ball. That's a bit far off. And yeah, we're not going to use it as a birthing ball. We're going to use it as an exercise ball. But one of the reasons I want to introduce it now is I want you all to get one of these. They're really cheap. You can get them really easily. Just make sure it's an anti-burst one. It will say on there that it's got, so this one says anti-burst technology. This one actually needs to be pumped up a little bit more. You want one that's either 45, 55, 65 or 75 centimeters in diameter. So if you are around 4'8" to 5'2", you're going to want around a 45. If you're around 5'2" to 5'6", you're going to want around a 55. If you're anything above 5'6" to around 6 foot, you're going to want a 65, maybe actually to around 5'9", 5'10", a 65, and then getting towards 6 foot, you're going to want a 75, yeah, because this one would be too small for you. How tall are you, Jenna? 5'10", so we're just about right. This is a 65, but this is not pumped up quite as I'd like it to be for Jenna, so Jenna's going to sit down on it for me now. And actually, she should be a little bit higher, so we should have pumped it up for a little bit more. But it's not bad, but what I want is her hips to be a little bit higher. And the reason I want you to sit on balls rather than on chairs is because now you can just roll around on it, and it keeps you moving. One of the worst things to do in pregnancy is to stop still. And it just literally, just being on a ball makes you move. It also means you have to be aware of your posture. Because you're less stable, okay? Now, don't sit on a ball forever. Don't sit on it like for all day long if you're sat at a desk all day. But just use it, stick it underneath your desk, and just use it to begin with for 5-10 minutes at a time, and then gradually you can use it a bit more. So interchange it with your chair to begin with, but also have one at home so you can sit on it at home as well, whether it's in the living room or if you've got a desk at home, try to use it as home as well. Just get yourself a ball and start to think about using it. Okay, we're going to come down to the floor now. So I'm going to put that back over here, and we're going to grab some blocks, if you bring your blocks forward, and then we're just going to come down onto one knee. So I might grab a couple of blocks. So we're going to come down onto one knee, and then we're just going to release some tension in the front of the thigh. So we have the right leg forward and the left leg back behind, and we've already done this stretch. We're going to lift and open through the front of the thigh, and then just come forward. And we'll go into this stretch in a lot more detail a little bit later on when you become more pregnant, because it becomes really relevant to try and open out this hip then. But for the moment, I still want you to stretch it, and I want you to engage your core as you're doing this, because it makes a difference. So again, take a breath, inhale, exhale, lift up through from the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in pelvic floors in this class, because we do now have that masterclass for you to have a look at, which is really detailed. But we are going to do some pelvic floor lifts in conjunction with another exercise. Let's just stretch the other hip. So again, come forwards, lift up through from your pelvic floor into your belly, and just allow your body to stretch out at the front. And while you and Jenna are doing this, I'm going to show you the next exercise. So you need to have a towel or a block or something to put your knees onto. I'm just going to come forward a bit. And then you want something between your knees. It again could be a towel, a cushion, something for you to squeeze your legs together on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work the inner thigh, the buttocks, and the core, whilst strengthening that muscle that we talked about, which was that that trapezius muscle, which helps to bring the shoulders down and work on a bit of back strength. So if you put one block between your knees and one block underneath your knees, And then you're going to put your hands up in front as if you're carrying a tray. And this is a very typical Pilates exercise. It's called the dumb waiter. So you imagine you're carrying a tray. What's actually really important here, more important than that tray thing, is the position of your elbows. The elbows need to be right into your ribs, so there should be no daylight between your arms and your ribs. So you're tucking them in, and then you're using those postural cues. What you also need to do in this position is just give your buttocks a little squeeze. If you can do that now, and it will open the front of your hips. Yeah, so you're just squeezing your buttocks. And then slide the shoulders down, and then do your egg and the spoon. Bring your chin in, or think of an apple or a grapefruit, I should say, underneath your chin. And then just part the hands and draw the shoulder blades back and down. Now, when you squeeze your buttocks, so squeeze them again for me now, what you'll probably find as you squeeze your bottom is that your knees come away from your block. Yeah, so you have to walk your knees back in. And that's important because we want the inner thigh to work. And when the inner thigh is working, we can engage the pelvic floor better. So we're now going to engage the pelvic floor. So take a breath, inhale, exhale. Lift up from the back of the pelvic floor into the front, but I want you to lift up and up and up and up and up. And then let it drop back down. So it's those 5 floors we're going up to. And then relax it, shake it all out. And then we're going to do it again. So bring the elbows in, take a breath for me, inhale, exhale, relax. And then squeeze your buttocks, move in on your block. And then take another breath, inhale, exhale. Part your hands, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Now scoop up from the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly and lift up and up and up and up and up. And then let it relax and let go, and then let everything let go. So we're going to take one breath to set ourselves up, and then one breath to really focus on the pelvic floor. And what I want you to think about is that you have this inner and outer shell. So your outer shell, or outer shell, and inner lining. So the outer shell is your bottom, your inner thigh, and you're just setting up the upper body. And then your inner lining is your pelvic floor strength. So I want you to start recognizing what's inner and what's outer strength. So let's try it again. So on the first breath, you're going to set up the outer strength. On the second breath, you're going to focus on the inner strength. So take a breath. Inhale, exhale. As you exhale, you part the hands, you draw the shoulders down, you bring the chin in, you squeeze your buttocks, and you walk your knees in on your block. Take another breath. Inhale. Exhale. Lift up from the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly, and lift up and up and up and up and up. And then let it drop back down and then release it all. Should we do it one more time? It's quite exhausting, this one, isn't it? Okay, so do it again. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale. Part the hands, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Tuck your tail, squeezing your buttocks in, and then walk in on your block. And then take another breath. Inhale. Exhale. And go from the back to the front of the pelvic floor and lift up and up and up and up and up. It's good. Okay, and then relax it. And then we're just going to finish off on my favorite exercise of all, which is the puppy dog. So we're going to come back. You can rest your forehead on a block if you want to. Take your arms forward. If we can have a side view on this. Take your knees wide. So if you need to put your bump somewhere, you can take it somewhere, but it's good to have the knees wide anyway. And then you're going to lift your tailbone up, so your bottom's up in the air, and you're going to rest your forehead onto your blocks and just relax back and breathe. And keep your bottom up, because what you want to do in this position is allow the pelvic floor to relax. So you're not trying to pull anything in, you're just relaxing and breathing. So inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And just relaxing and sinking into the floor, and do that again. Inhale and exhale. And relax. And Jan, I want you to stay doing that so you can continue as well, just breathing, inhaling and exhaling. And I'm asking you to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. If you find that difficult, you can breathe out through your mouth as well, that's fine. All I want you to do though is just recognize the need to slow your breath down and really just let your body go right now. And in this position, it's a wonderful position to be in, just breathing it through. I hope you feel okay. I hope you've enjoyed this session, and we'll see you again next week. Well done.